You're watching Cartel TV and I'm Jenny. Subscribe. So today we have the Hyundai i20N and we're also in New South Wales and we're also on a track and there's also some professional guests here. But we won't reveal those. We'll let you see if you can suss them out. Now, let's give you a quick rundown of the i20N and get inside as fast as possible. We know you think we're here for you, but we're actually here to enjoy this pocket rocket. So here's the lowdown. About a decade ago, Hyundai decided to up their game in the car world. They invested loads of money and hired some highly esteemed people within the industry. When that proved successful, they decided to add a luxury brand, Enter Genesis, and performance variants of their most successful models. Well, remember those highly esteemed people? Well, one of them came from the M division. That would be the BMW M division. That brought us the lovely i30N with that smooth engine, sharp handling and limited slip diff. So come on people, we know Hyundai has been bringing us some very cool cars. And if you don't know that, get with the program. Now, the i20 is nowhere near the i30 in terms of popularity, but if you know your hot hatches, you'll know that they are a mix of fine handling, lightweight body and powerful engines. So going one size down in this respect can only be a good thing. And that's exactly what this i20N is. Let's see how much of the lovely i30N trickled down to this fella. In terms of styling, do you really care? I mean, I'd look forward to a drive in this one if it looked like a chipped tooth on wheels. Hell, even if it looked like a Fiat Multipla. Okay, wait. That's probably going too far. Luckily, it doesn't. It actually looks pretty cool. We have the low and wide grille inspired by a checkered flag, mean headlights, aggressive front bumper, and this nice little N to tell you what it is even before you jump in. The overall look is of your standard small city hatch with some blatantly sporty details. They say it's based on the rallying heritage of the company. It's 10mm lower than the standard model, special side sills that add to the aggression, and these red details are sprinkled around the exterior, and the side has these perfectly sized 18-inch wheels. So if you're still not convinced of the WRC influences, here's a lovely roof spoiler. But you still want more. Okay, how about this rear diffuser with the exhaust tips? The exhaust is valved, and when the valves are open, well, you'll hear that in a minute. Shall we look under the bonnet next? Expectedly, we get the 1.6-litre turbo engine in its latest generation. We couldn't really expect the same power level as the i30N. The 1.6 produces 150 kilowatts and 275 newton meters of torque. There's a bit less than the Fiesta ST in terms of torque, but a bit more in terms of power. The engine is paired with a 6-speed manual, which is a great thing in a car like this. The spec sheet tells us the car weighs 1,190 kilograms, sprints to 106.7 seconds, and shoots up to 230 kilometers an hour. I'll go out on a limb here and say this is electronically limited. It's even more interesting when you know that all these torques are available from just 1,750 and all the way up to 4,500. That's a huge playing field for any driver. So behind the wheel, before we make those tires squeal, let's see what that exhaust sounds like with their valves open. Now, while I did do some testing of the i20N, in order to really stretch its legs, we have to test it properly, and that means on a track, professionally and safely. In order to do this, I'm going to have to put my helmet on and walk normally over and get into my car. Nothing abnormal to see here. Slow-mo this if you can. Now that damn torque curve. The i20N pulls with zest even before those 1,750 revs, so you have a feeling you can shift far less often. It really feels like the push is ever present. There is a slight lag in low revs, but when the turbo spools, that's it. Now with these small engines and comparable turbos, it's expected the turbo will spool pretty fast to help with low RPM acceleration, and then lose out in the higher end due to its limited size. You can't beat physics, but this engine and turbo combo is as close to beating it as you can be. Despite the low-down push, the engine does not feel out of breath, higher up in the RPM range. The push starts to diminish after 6,000 revs, but that's a big playing field. However, power is only part of the story for any hot hatch. In fact, it's no good if it's too powerful, especially front-wheel drive cars, and they don't have to be massively powerful to put a smile on your face. That comes from the whole package: power, chassis, suspension, handling, and weight. This is where the i20N delivers, just like its bigger brother. Handling is wonderfully precise and responsive. Suspension is noticeably stiffer than in the standard i20 too. Chassis now has additional strengthening in the front And both the front and rear axles have a different, much sportier setup. The front is what they call an N-PowerSense axle, while the rear has a dual-coupled torsion beam axle, the combination providing more rigidity and improving handling further. And then there's the mechanical limited slip diff, LSD. That's a huge benefit, and you can feel it every time you exit a bend and push the pedal to the metal. The way it puts the power to the road is just amazing. Another feature that tells you what a fun driving machine this is, even for experienced performance drivers, is the ESC setting, which has 3 modes: on, sport, or off. Yes, you can turn the ESC off completely. It also has a launch control, which sets all the systems to maximize acceleration from a standstill. If I had to decide on it, I'd say the i20N is closer to the WRC car than it is to the standard i20. It's not a real race car, no, but even a hint in that direction should tell you just how awesome the i20N is to drive.
Whew, that was some hair-raising stuff.
Oh, and you have a manual handbrake, and hot hatch enthusiasts will understand why this is a good thing. Now that I have a moment to see where I'm actually sitting, let me tell you about the interior. Quality is pretty good. Of course, we can't expect luxury materials in this price point. The steering wheel is a special story, not only for its really nice looks, but also functionality. Aside from the standard buttons to control various systems, you also get these 3 buttons in the lower section of the steering wheel. The left one activates Eco, Normal and Sports modes. The right one activates the N mode and the N Custom mode, which allows you to tailor numerous aspects of the driving dynamics. The third button, the small red one, activates the rev matching mode for the manual.
It's a great addition even if you're not versed in heel and toe antics. Heck, it's a great addition even if you are.
Much more important is the overall layout and ergonomics. The front seats are really supportive, and that's a must in a vehicle like this. You can adjust the position of the steering wheel. The digital instrument cluster is clear, and it lets you read the information quickly. Interestingly, the infotainment screen is also the 10.25-inch unit. Pretty big for a car of this size. So, thanks Hyundai. But I have to say it's an optional feature for the i20N. It also comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This screen also comes with performance information specifically designed for the sporty models.
What I really like about this car is all the controls, including the gear lever, are really close to the steering wheel. We spent a few hours in this car and I'm already really well adapted.
Sure, they're not too innovative or too modern, but that's a good thing in such a vehicle. You can cut through corners and adjust air conditioning at the same time.
If you care about rear seats in this car, I will tell you that they are quite spacious.
And reasonably comfortable.
You can actually fit 2 adults back here, and the legroom and headroom is decent. I don't know the volume of the boot, but it seems on par with the rest of the segment. Fortunately, the load lip is small, and you can also fold the second row seats, which split 60-40. Once you do this, you don't get a completely flat floor.
The i20N comes with the safety features you'd expect in a modern vehicle like this.
Forward collision warning, forward collision avoidance assist, city, interurban, pedestrian, cyclist. Lane departure warning, lane keep assist, blind spot collision warning, intelligent speed limit assist, driver attention warning system including leading vehicle departure alert, high beam assist, lane following assist, rear cross traffic collision warning, rear view monitor with parking guidance, and more.
So you see, we love the i20N, right? It's an awesome machine. But how does it stack up to other vehicles in this segment?
It's really close to the Fiesta ST, and that one is probably the benchmark in this segment. The Polo GTI has a bigger 2-litre engine and also more torque, though a bit less power. I drove the Polo, though not recently, and I think the difference in torque is something I could notice. However, as I said, it's definitely not all about the power, and the i20N is not lacking in this respect. I'm looking forward to trying the GR Yaris soon, as that one is a whole different beast on paper with 200 kilowatts and 370 newton meters and all-wheel drive. But that will also probably affect the price point.
But here's what it boils down to. The best thing about a good hot hatch is that yes, it can go fast, but the great thing is you don't have to go fast to have a lot of fun.
Too much power is a bad thing on a front-wheel drive hot hatch. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It needs just enough power to twist your neck, but also keep the control in your hands.
This is exactly what the i20N does.
All this combined means you can have heaps of fun, even when you're not pressing the pedal hard. Just the precise steering and rigid chassis are enough to put a smile on your face. It's a car that you could drive your kids to school in, a car that you can park in tight spaces, and a car that does not feel out of place in the city rush hour. Thanks again for watching Cartel TV. We hope you love this video as much as we love the i20N.